Muradi Selvi is a bilingual psychologist working in one of Australia's most diverse communities. And during the pandemic, demand has been rising for her Melbourne-based psychology service.
Some families are stranded and they're not accessing one another. The stress is about being isolated. The stress is about not having access to members of the family. The stress is about the language difficulties and not being able to fully understand what's going on in respect to the government.
The practice she founded 20 years ago is helping migrants and their families through the crisis by listening and providing support. During the COVID-19 pandemic, like many other businesses, this practice pivoted online.
Well, immediately following the coronavirus issues, we had patients, because there was a lot of confusion, they didn't want to get out of the house, they were very concerned about travelling on public transport, and so people were calling in saying, we're sorry, but I can't come in and I need to cancel. As psychologists, I think duty of care is paramount. We were concerned that that was going to be a trend and people were going to stop coming into therapy.
Telehealth rebates are available until the end of September, allowing people with a mental health plan to claim for services online or on the phone.
If a patient wasn't coming in and I knew that they had, recent death or recent trauma, I was happy to just spend some time on the phone with them. A patient that walks in, knowing that there's no language barrier, knowing that they're going to be understood in their culture. As a therapist, when I watch them, I'm not just listening, I'm watching the gestures. It immediately enables a very, very healthy therapeutic relationship.
Muradi knows about the challenges facing new arrivals. Born in Turkey, she moved to Melbourne in the 70s as a child with her family.
We began our life in Abbotsford, down here in Melbourne. Soon we moved to the Ministry of Housing flats in Richmond. So the isolation was immense. Experiencing my mother's own mental health at the young ages of 12, 13, 14, and seeing what unfortunately a barrier language was, and the minor tranquilizers that were given to migrant women, as with my mother, to help them cope with their psychological ill health. Because they didn't have a language, they did not have services, they did not have therapeutic communication with their psychiatrists or the doctors. It was just through medication. We were called upon by the community because by then, we've been here for 10 years, we've got all these language skills, to do interpreting.
Interpreting the world for new arrivals sparked a lifelong passion to help people.
I was fortunate to go to La Trobe University, get my degree there, move on to Swinburne, and then I went door knocking on the GP's rooms and said, can I come and practice in your rooms? And of course they said, no one's going to come and talk about mental health, and your ethnic communities don't do that.
Muradi Selvi proved her critics wrong, opening her own practice in 1990.
I saw that the ethnic communities embraced mental health services and embraced psychologists. That's when I encouraged other psychologists who were bilingual to use their language skills and to be of support to their communities. Our motto is to make sure the services are accessible to the community. We will never ever turn anybody away if they can't afford them, and hence all our psychologists have provided free services.
For the past 4 years, Ms. Selvi has served as president of the Turkish Business Council. And her business was recently honoured with a Multicultural Impact Award.
Just a humbling experience to be recognised for that. And I don't think it's my reward. I think I'm the voice of many, many migrant young people who come to this country.
1/3 of all small businesses in Victoria are owned by migrants. And Business Victoria supports both migrant and refugee owner-operators who often hire other migrants, building stronger communities. Selvi Psychological Services recently developed a new website and better payment systems with Business Victoria support.
They made sure that all my appointments and office management was much more technologically, I think, sound, which I was grateful for businesses because they are vital and they've got to come back. And I think people are saying the small business is what really keeps the economy going.
During this crisis, Ms Selvey urged businesses to visit Business Victoria services online. Ms Selvey aims to steer the community into recovery and beyond.
We are here, we are open, we want to be available to new clients and existing clients, so we will keep our offices open, our services open. And I think if they can access it, we are practicing all of the necessary social isolation measures. We've got a wonderful staff here, and the psychologists are all mindful about the need to protect themselves and to protect anybody that comes into our services.